We hope that it inspires you as it has inspired me. The coolest part is I haven't even met them yet, and they totally have changed my life. So please give it up for Chuck and Hannah Keels of Living Hope Cancer Foundation.
Good morning.
Yeah, so that picture on there, this is what 1 year of hair growth looks like. I'm going from bald. But that doesn't mean my story is over. I'm actually in active treatment and in the middle of brain radiation, which I just had last night and this evening. So I'm really happy to be here today. So Chuck's gonna start.
And also I want to thank Ty. I've known Ty for quite a while. Everybody knows Ty. We love you, man. We love you, buddy. So we're going to share a story, and we've got a limited amount of time, so we're going to try to just touch on the important things to get our point across. And more detail is in a book that we just published about 4 months ago called Get Up and Live. And this we have outside. We're going to be signing books when we're done, when everything's done today. But this gets into the detail. So right now we've got to just kind of brush across things. So I want to start out with what happened to me over the last 6 years. 6 years ago, I was designing landscaping and swimming pools all over the valley. And so what happens is they started getting tired. And I had what I call the male mentality. I'll be okay tomorrow. And I wasn't okay tomorrow. It got worse and worse. And I started having pain. And I started getting fatigued. And I knew I had to do something about it. So I ended up at the emergency room at Gilbert Mercy Hospital on a Friday night. And to say my life changed at that time is an understatement. What happened was I was diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer. It started in my prostate, it goes where it's fed, and it got into the bone marrow, and it got into my lymph nodes. And the doctors at that time, the specialists that came in, they just looked at me and they said, "We can't even believe you just walked in here." And I'm like, "Okay, what's going on with that?" And they said, "It has spread into your bones and you have cancer in 90% of the bones in your body." I mean, should I even be here right now, right? And so what happens is I go home, I have to tell my 2 high school boys that are going to school out in Campo. We already knew it was cancer, but how bad it was. The doctor actually said, "It's stage 4. You might make it 3 more months." And they put me in hospice, 2015, guys. Okay? So I go home, I have to sit my boys down, tell them the story. It's an absolute nightmare. And then I say, "What do you do with this?" And I'm thinking, let me get my boys back to Ohio where my family's at, because I'm not gonna make it much longer. So that week we gave away everything we owned, because all this stuff that I busted my tail for my entire life, the leather furniture and the big screen TVs, meant absolutely nothing. Gave it all away. That weekend, we were supposed to fly out on Sunday morning. Saturday, I look at my boys and I go, "Where are we gonna sleep tonight? We gave away our beds." So we said, let's just go, we'll go down to the Hilton Tapatio Cliffs. We'll stay there because the next morning we're hopping on the plane to head back to Ohio. So we stay down there for the night, have dinner. The next morning I'm walking down the hall towards the bathroom and something pops and I hit the floor. I can't breathe. I can't move. I'm in agonizing pain. And you know how you breathe and your diaphragm moves? It felt like somebody was stabbing me in the back with a knife and running up to my head. I'm not kidding you. The fire department came in, got me into an ambulance. Ambulance gets me to John C. Lincoln Hospital down there. It was the closest hospital to this. 2 emergency surgeries took place. One was to stop feeding the cancer, and the other one, they call it a port. And if anybody's been around anybody that's had cancer, it's a device that goes under the skin that takes chemotherapy into your body. So what they were thinking was, if we stop feeding the cancer and we start killing the cancer, this guy might have a chance. Went into 2 surgeries the next day. Took 2.5 hours. I'm back in the recovery room. John C. Lincoln Hospital. It's an older hospital. I remember the room, long curtains. They're taking patients in and out for their surgeries. And I'm awake after the surgeries. The doctors come in and explain the surgeries went perfectly and how my follow-up would look after I left there. And as I'm laying there, the room turns weird cold for no reason at all. I scrunched up. I looked to the right to where the big double doors were, where they were taking the patients in to the surgeries, and I said, somebody left the door open and the cold air came through here, and that's what's going on. And I look down and the doors are shut. I'm like, what is going on? And as I come back to my left, I jump, and I'm laying there looking at a brown robe, white scarf, bearded face, and in my head I'm like, is it a doctor? Is it a nurse? Is it a janitor? I'm looking at Jesus. His foot does a half a step out and he reaches like this and he touches me on the shoulder and he's gone. And I'm flipping out. What was that and why me? That day, all the pain stopped. From surgeries, broken back with the fall in the John C. Lincoln, or at the Hilton was compression fracture. The cancer was breaking down the bones, and it just said, I can't hold you up anymore. Broken back, surgeries, and all this. The pain stops that day. Had an amazing conversation with God that night. And I'm an old Catholic boy from Ohio that don't go to church anymore. So this is really freaking me out, and I just can't believe what's happened to me. And so through the next few months of chemo, because that was what they had planned, they do the first scan, and my doctor's from Pakistan, and she looks at me and she says, I've never seen anything like this before in my life. She said, your journey's not of medicine, it's miraculous. Your bone scans look like a normal, healthy guy. So to say my life has changed is an understatement. And also what had happened is the phone started to ring because people were watching my story on social media. And they started calling me. And they said, hey, Chuck, my wife was diagnosed with cancer. I'm like, why are you calling me? You survived stage 4 cancer. What did you do? And I was like, this is insane. And so I started telling them what I did. I told them my story. And then I had some things that I started putting in place just because of being a pretty healthy guy my whole life. You know, I prayed. I believed love was part of it. My neighbors bring in meals when I went through chemo and I couldn't cook for my boys. I just loved that feeling. Juicing, essential oils, exercise. So I started sharing my story with everybody, and I also started getting this little poke on the shoulder, and a lot of people call it God wink. It was like God telling me, write a book about this. You got to write a book about this. It's so extraordinary. So I actually did write a book about my journey, just about what I'm just telling you guys right now. And I didn't know the lessons and the stories and what was getting ready to happen. So the book that I wrote was called Hi, I'm Chuck. So basically, as I'm helping people, I get an email. And if anybody mentions the word cancer, I'm all over it. So I get this email from this beautiful young lady who is now my wife.
So he received that message 30 months ago. 29 months ago, we met in person, and 26 months ago, we got married. So if you do the math, that's a mere 3 months. It's been quite a ride. So my story begins in 2016. It'll be 6 years this month that I found a lump in my breast. The same year that I got divorced in an unwanted divorce of 6 years, 21 years of marriage. I lost my job as an OR nurse because of my diagnosis. I lost my very best friend to suicide. So within a 2.5 year span, I had a lot of loss. And in that loss, I learned to go to God for my strength. And so I ended up writing a book, which is called Faith Like Skin, about my losses and about the lessons I learned. So I ended up writing the contents of it in the year 2019. And I came home and was talking to my best friend and just sharing with her, I'm trying to figure out how to publish my book. I don't know how to do this. And she's like, oh, I don't know why I've never mentioned that one of my cousins actually survived end-stage cancer, and he just self-published a book. Maybe you guys should meet. And so after a little Facebook stalking and messaging, God connected us, and we instantly became best friends and knew that God put us together. Divinely appointed. I fought it a little tiny bit, but not for very long.
So we get married, we go out to Oceanside, California for a honeymoon, we have a blast. We spent 5 days on the beach in the sun, 5 days in Flagstaff in the snow, came back here, I'm back to designing landscaping, and the cancer calls are building. There's more now, 2 or 3 a day, whatever. And Hannah's like, have you ever thought about starting a foundation? I'm like, no. I said, I have a landscape business, it's a big headache. I have no idea what starting a 501c3 nonprofit looks like. So she started doing the first research, then we started getting into it together. And in February of 2020, we launched Living Hope Cancer Foundation. And at first, Living Hope Cancer Foundation was just to share our experience, to talk somebody off the ledge, and to just love on them, to just hug with them, cry with them, laugh with them. And the thing that we noticed that was missing in the industry was when someone's diagnosed with cancer, they get their diagnosis, they get their medical plan, and then they get a pat on the back and they say, I'm so sorry you're going through this, and they send you home. And you're already freaking out on the drive home. And you get there and you're on the couch and your family and your neighbors and everybody around's freaking out. I can't believe cancer's come into our life. And we knew there was a big niche there that was missing. So we couldn't find that next place to go, so we became that next place to go. We became a foundation that coaches positive mindset. Our whole premise is we do cancer and trauma coaching for free. If we've got to fundraise, if we've got to, whatever it's got to be, we do that. And you have to understand, we built this foundation and watched it grow over the last couple of years while Hannah's going through an unbelievable journey with cancer.
So when we met, I was stable, which means nothing was growing. I was just taking medication, a little tired, that's about it. And 5 months after we got married, my neck broke. And I found out the cancer started spreading all over my body. I have just finished healing from my 8th fracture due to cancer in the last year and a half. So it's not been quite the honeymoon we thought it would be. And yeah, we got to become the best friends ever through it all. It's not been easy, but what we found out was that God was teaching us all these lessons, and while we're living out my story of cancer and all the hard things, God kept restoring me. So I break my neck. 8 weeks later, we were ziplining. And so our motto actually became Get Up and Live, which we tattooed on our bodies, named our book, and our website is getupandlive.org. And through the last, we have a lot of details that you've got to read the book. Through the last year or so, we started understanding it wasn't just get up and live to go take your dog for a walk, and it's not just a physical thing, which we all need to do, but like when you're a cancer patient, you definitely want to just kind of go in a victim mode and, you know, curl up under the covers, and you have every right to, really, right, if you're not feeling good. But we're finding that the more active, the more we engage our whole body, the better you feel. And so we started understanding that Get Up and Live was also your emotions, dealing with all of those things, maybe the hurts, and then getting healed from that. And then the spiritual part of us, right? We all have life that we have to live spiritually. And so there's just some really neat lessons that we've been learning. And as we're learning them, we're sharing them with people and our clients. And we've seen so many people healed and healing, and more importantly, living with peace and joy in the middle of their diagnosis. So whether they live or die, while they're living every day. And that's just been really exciting to get to encourage people in that.
So basically, the foundation started just going crazy. We put some amazing videos on our website. We're up to 56 videos, 16 of them about breast cancer. They're all free. So 2 to 3 minute videos called the Cancer Roadmap Project, and you guys can give that to anybody in the world. And it's just all getupandlive.org, getupandlive.org. I love when people just remember it and they bump into a friend or somebody mentions cancer, or just how about just a struggle in life? How about a challenge in life? It might not be cancer, but these videos are amazing when it comes to inspiration. So with the help of social media, the foundation is growing like crazy right now. We're getting a 501c3 really restricts you to the 50 states of the United States, but we are getting calls from England, Ireland, Brazil, South Africa, all over the world, which blows my mind. So we said, how do we make it so that people know who we are? That's the only thing at this point of building this foundation is just so people know who we are and where to find us. And so I'm coaching a guy out in Maine who is a prostate cancer survivor like myself, stage 4, and he's an avid cyclist. He's a bicycler. And he says, we need to ride a bike across the country. And I go, I'm in. I didn't even breathe, it's like, I'm in. I love the thought. And so 5 months ago, I bought a used road bike. We actually sold her wheelchair, motorized wheelchair, bought a used road bike, and I started training. So on the 28th of this month, we leave out of San Diego, and we are going to go 3,000 miles to St. Augustine, Florida. It's going to take 75 days. You ride 50 miles a day for 3 days and take a day off, and you just keep on going.
Don't worry, I'm not biking, I'm driving.
I'm trying to get her on an e-bike, but I'm going to be driving. She's going to be in a safety or an RV vehicle behind us with our dog. And we're just going to blow up social media. We got people all over the country, like they're following this like it's a movie. They're like, where are you going to be? And so it's going to be really neat because we're going to be blasting stuff out on social media.
And we're coming through Phoenix on April 6th. And this is also a fundraiser, and we want you to get up and ride. So if you want to join us for the day, you can do 25 miles, you can do 5 miles, you can do 50 miles.
Yeah, so on day number 10, we leave San Diego. Day number 10 goes right through Tempe and on across the country. And so that's going to be our big plug to just get awareness for the foundation so people know who we are. Like I said, the website has a lot of amazing tools on it, and also going to have the bike event all the way across the country. It has all of our media stuff, We're doing a lot of stuff on the news and stuff now, which is like blowing my mind. I used to be a landscaper. Now I'm on stage or on TV, and I'm pinching myself. I'm like, who are you? But I've got one. Do you have anything else you want to say before I tell the story? Okay, I got to tell you one story to wind this up. And this is our life as cancer coaches. I'm on the beach walking one night out in San Clemente, just to get away for a couple days and and this is before I met Hannah. Everything going on is just wild. And I get a call while I'm on the beach, which I take, and she says, I hope it's okay to call you right now. A friend of mine from LA gave me your number. My husband's been diagnosed with cancer. And I said, absolutely. So I'm walking down the beach, talking to this young lady about her and her husband that's starting through this cancer journey. And I started telling them of things that we're going to do. She said he's a fighter, he's just an amazing guy. And so the friendship started, and the last 3 years of the friendship got closer, and something happened. He got COVID. He got COVID, and he was already on things for cancer, and it didn't allow his immune system to fight back at all, and we lost him. The day before he passed away, he endorsed this book. him and Hannah are going back and forth on the phone. He says, okay, that's good. Yeah, put it in your book. We will, that's awesome. The next day he passes away. Has anybody in here ever heard of a guy named Dave Jinks? That's my buddy. And his endorsement's on the second page of the book. And that's the life of a cancer coach. And we don't want you guys just to follow us for the bike ride. We want you to follow us from now on. We're building a foundation that we're praying that when we're long gone, it's still helping and hugging people all over the world. So I want to thank you guys for inviting us out. I hope this has been inspirational. Whatever challenge you're going through in life, get up and live.
Yeah, we'll be at the table on the other side of the doors outside, and we have books for sale. We'd love to invite you to come to our website. Tons of resources, not just for cancer people. We also sell merchandise. We have a really fun t-shirt line and hoodies for when it's actually cold here. So
Get up and
all
live.
of the proceeds go to the nonprofit. So
Get up and live.
get up and live.
Thanks, guys.